rest of our body, what are its vital ingredients? The truth is, each of us contains an extraordinary collection of different chemicals. And if you tried to write down all the proteins, fats, alcohols, and acids that make up, say, little Eugene here, it would take months. But there's an easier way of thinking about the components of his body, by comparing it to the mud pie he's making. Both are made up of chemical elements, the building blocks of matter. And virtually all the elements that make up Eugene can also be found in his mud pie. In fact, there's even a connection between Eugene, his mud pie, and the pencil his sister Anna is using to do her homework. One of the most common elements in the soil, and one of the biggest components in us, is carbon. It's also in the graphite core of Anna's pencil. But how much carbon do we actually contain? In fact, if you totaled up all the carbon in our body, it would weigh in at 30 pounds and 13 ounces. Enough to fill 9,000 pencils, which would make a really big pencil case. That carbon is used as the basis for virtually every cell in our body. It's what makes us organic. But the link between our body and Eugene's mud pie doesn't stop here. Another key ingredient links it with toothpaste, cheese, eggshells, and the blackboard at school. Without calcium, we'd all be just blubbery blobs, as it's a key constituent of our skeleton. A lack of it can lead to osteoporosis or brittle bones, which is sadly a condition that around 10 million Americans suffer from. The average skeleton weighs in at about 30 pounds, and each of us contains around 2.5 pounds of calcium, enough to make 266 sticks of chalk. It's a vital element in our body, but it's not the only one that gives our skeleton its strength.
Bone's very strong. It's as light as wood, as strong as steel. And it does that primarily through its shape and through the material that it's actually consisting of, which is mostly calcium and phosphorus.
Phosphorus is just as important to our frame as calcium, and it's an important component in the chemicals that release energy around our body. Since it's found in matchheads, you could say phosphorus gives us our spark. And you might be surprised to find that each of us contains about 1.7 pounds of the stuff. Enough to make 2,200 matchheads. So how are we doing with our mud pie? Take the elements we've mentioned, carbon, calcium, phosphorus, and add the hydrogen and oxygen in water, along with a dash of the nitrogen from the air, and we'd find that the majority of the elements in the mud pie make up a whopping 99% of the mass of our body.